Hi, it's George Nordhaus, and welcome to Monday morning. This is going to be a different Monday morning. Of course, I say that every week, but it is because Dennis Yocom is Powerhouse Learning, and you'll learn more about them later, is going to present something to us that needs to be for any business owner anywhere, but particularly for independent insurance agencies. The subject is succession planning and leadership transformation, now or never. And he makes, when I heard the potential of this presentation, I kind of flipped because I know how badly this is needed by many people. I know I've made my own mistakes 2 or 3 times in the process and not done it. And well, you'll see why in just a minute. Let me show you Dennis here and his partner, one of his partners at any rate. That's Brandy Heinen up above, one of the better teachers, leadership people, speakers, but consultants. I have been working with Brandy probably 30 years, maybe even more. But now she has a new a partner, Dennis Yocom. Dennis is in Chattanooga. His background was association management in the early days. He got into insurance. He helped develop an insurance company, a successful one. Along the way, he ended up as an association executive running the PIA of Virginia and the PIA of DC. It was one connected one. And that's how he really got into what makes agents tick. Here's a little bit about their learning. I'll show you some other stuff here about them. They do education, problem-solving stuff, implementation. They've got a beautiful system, and they also work with Al Diamond with Agency Consulting Group. At any rate, I'm very happy to be working with Dennis because he's going to talk about something near and dear: buying, selling, no, not buying, selling, succession planning, and leadership transformation. And we better think about it now. Dennis, your move.
All right. Well, thank you, George. I appreciate the opportunity to certainly talk about something that's near and dear to my heart, and that's the continuation of the independent agency system through formal succession planning. So first, I'd like to review the outlook for small businesses with your audience. Small and family-owned businesses they have a right to be concerned about the future. Their outlook is particularly uncertain. A Mass Mutual survey that was conducted recently shows that 88% of current family-owned businesses, those owners believe that the same family will control that business sometime in the next 5 years. But the statistics really don't bear that out.
Oh.
In reality, only about 30% of family-owned businesses will survive into the second generation. Only 12% are viable into the third, and only 3% of all family-owned businesses operate into the fourth generation or beyond.
I'll be darned.
So that's kind of sad.
Yeah,
the statistics also reveal that there's a disconnect between business owners' optimistic beliefs and the reality of the massive failure of family businesses to survive through the generations. The research shows that family business failures can be traced back to one factor, and that is a lack of business succession planning. So let's look at a few figures here. There's a 40% leadership turnover, and that's because baby boomer retirements over the next 5 years are going to lead to those leadership changes for 40% of family-owned businesses. Now, that in itself doesn't sound too bad. But when you look at this next one, 2/3 of family-owned businesses will not survive a leadership change. This is Small Business Association data, and it's very sobering. Imagine the impact of this high failure rate on the local economies, on job growth, and on the many people that these businesses employ. It's really sad. Inc. magazine did a study also that found that up to 75% of small businesses, 10 million of them actually, will hang up a for sale sign over the next 10 years. And why do we think that is? Well, the answer is baby boomers who are actually cashing out. They'll retire at a rate of 10,000 people a day.
Wow.
For the next 19 years. Now, that's going to make some kind of a vacuum, I believe. Certainly will somewhere. And finally, this is no surprise. Demographics is a major consideration with our aging workforce and the loss of a number of experienced personnel in the traditional professions and industries that are led by baby boom owners. It's likely that there will continue to be a limited number of people in the talent pipeline. So why is it important? Why is succession planning important to you and your business? With an outlook like we just discussed, why would any conscientious business owner ignore the need for a succession plan? Certainly he wants to preserve his business and ensure its financial survival. And most business owners will tell you exactly that. They believe that planning is important to their business survival, and they recognize the advantages of having a plan. But still, most business owners do not have a written plan. So here are some of the key advantages of a succession plan for your business. Succession planning helps the business stay ahead of its competitors, simply because most businesses don't have a continuation plan and they don't have a succession strategy. It helps you identify future owners. I think evaluating your workforce as you prepare for a succession plan gives you a great opportunity, a great perspective on the talent in your organization. Determining which of your key employees will ultimately step into leadership or to senior management roles, it's really imperative for maintaining business success during any kind of economic climate. Planning is also an office morale and engagement booster. And you're grooming employees for their future roles, and you're giving them more complex tasks and investing in their growth. It keeps them focused, motivated, and loyal to your business. Another area that's crucial is concern for your clients. Obviously, as a business owner, it took you a long time to develop many of the relationships that you have with loyal clients. You don't want your clients to jump ship. And what about your trusted employees? You don't want any of your good employees to feel like their jobs are in jeopardy when you leave. And a succession plan can provide a sense of direction, stability, and expectations for all the key stakeholders, and that's your employees, your customers, your shareholders, and your vendors. Each and every one of them will appreciate knowing there is a leadership continuity program and that the business will continue to function normally. Another area, vanishing business. Regardless of what some politician in D.C. might tell you, we know that you did in fact build your business, and because you have an ego, you're proud of the business that you built and what you accomplished over the years. And we think very much that you'd like to see your baby perpetuate itself. After all, you put your heart and soul into that thing for 30 or 40 years, right?
Amen.
And here, retirement income, it's certainly a consideration. If your buy-sell agreement or your partnership buyout agreement provides you with annuity-type payments over time while the business continues, then you definitely need the business to remain a going concern. Contracts are also a new consideration more often now. There may be legal entanglements that are attached to ownership of your business, particularly if you have a franchise or you're in a business cluster where a larger investor or an ownership entity of some sort has the first right of refusal on buying your business, or at least maybe they must vet or approve would-be buyers. Having a succession strategy mapped out in advance can really help owners avoid ambiguities when it's time to sell. And finally, another important reason, most of all, I guess, is peace of mind. Routinely, when you select a successor in your business, that gives you peace of mind while you continue to run the business. And since you, as the owner, you took the time to carefully select a person or a group of people to run your business, then you can rest assured that it's in good hands when you leave. Because you decided to create a succession plan well in advance of your departure, you have plenty of time to train this person on the day-to-day duties and the larger concerns regarding your business.
You know,
so
Dan,
let's talk about some.
Let me interrupt you just a second.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here having a horrible feeling about this. I mean, it's great. What you're saying is exactly great. I really screwed up. And I'm telling people I did that, and the business that I'd started for 40 years. I ran it for 40 years. IMMS, Insurance Marketing Management Services. And a lot of what you're saying here is I didn't do, and boy, oh boy. I know you're not trying to embarrass me, but what I'm trying to realize is what didn't I do in my life that I should have done? And this is, boy, you're going right to the heart of my heart, I can tell you. Okay? You're killing me.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at what you're saying, George, because it's very, very common to be in exactly the situation that you have been.
Yep.
Let's talk about some of the obstacles, and you've given me a great segue here. Number one, no exit strategy. And as I said before, this is very common for agency owners. A lot of them came home from World War II. They didn't have an exit strategy in mind. They just wanted to find work. They went to work maybe for their brother-in-law, the agency, until they could go get a good job somewhere. Retirement and exit strategies were not on their radar. A study that an organization called White House Advisors in Atlanta recently did found that 96% of baby boom business owners agreed that having an exit strategy was important, but only 87% of those didn't have a plan. So it's very, very common to recognize how important it is, but it's also very common not to do anything about it.
You know why I like
so
your.
Here's one of the reasons.
Well, I like
one of the reasons why.
Yeah. Well, I like what you're saying because I didn't have an exit strategy, but in running that business all those years, I never thought of it. And I hope this is going to be circulated to everybody who owns a business. I wish you'd have been around 40 years ago. Not 40, but
well, we hope so, because a lot of the day-to-day just agency management activities always get in the way of taking care of your succession plan.
They do.
You have to be totally committed to creating a transition strategy and seeing it through. If you don't have internal perpetuation, then there's another option you don't have. If you're an owner that doesn't have a family member or any solid partners that you can depend on for transitioning out of your business when you retire, then a leadership development or some sort of replacement strategy is really imperative. You need to have vision. You need to have goals. What does an agency owner expect to get when he retires? Is it going to be a multiple of something? Is it an amount equal to annual commissions? I think in the current economic recession, 8 years now, only the best agencies can expect premium pricing when they sell. So are you ready for a reverse sticker shock? You should be if you don't have a plan. External forces always are obstacles, and these are the things like changes in the economy, the availability of money from buyers, rise and falling interest rates, tax law changes, government intervention in your business, and the security of your pension. These all have a profound effect on the market value and the liquidity of your business. So simply put, this means business owners have a limited window of opportunity to sell before the sheer volume of business hitting the market potentially overwhelms the buying community. And finally, no secret here, inertia. If you are, as an owner, frozen by inaction and you don't know how to start a planning process for liquidating your business or selling out your ownership shares to a partner, then you should get professional help, because time is really your enemy. And we're going to talk about timing and why it's critical, because it's easy to put off the planning process. It's very difficult. It raises some issues, some uncomfortable, life-changing issues like mortality and the changes in key personal relationships. The longer you delay the planning process, the fewer options you have. And often, the business and the business owner die on the same day.
That's good. That's very well thought. That's very well said. Yeah.
Well, it means the intended owners or the owner's beneficiaries may not receive the full value of the business unless a succession plan has been in place. So when the business owner creates the plan, the owner retains control. When the business owner fails to have a succession plan, the government or various attorneys take control. And here's why timing is so important. Again, you need to have your head in the right place to be ready to sell. You know, what is your risk tolerance? It's not what it used to be. Maybe you feel like it's time for a change, but you have cold feet. Again, waiting just makes the process harder and more drawn out. You need to have your corporate house in order. Have you addressed the name changes with your Secretary of State's office when you bought that last book of business? Are your corporation documents and filings in order? Are there any unresolved issues with the Department of Insurance? All these kinds of things are significant. Again, another timing issue is bumps in the road. And again, you need to schedule time to really assess your situation as an owner. Keep your emotions in check and identify when you plan to leave and how much revenue you'll need when you leave your business. If you need to think seriously about what happens when you walk out the door. Certainly the unexpected is a consideration. Let's say your spouse wants to travel more and go see the grandkids in a distant state. That usually means you suddenly need to be more footloose from the business. And again, what if the unthinkable happens? Your spouse or some close family member is severely injured in an accident. If an opportunity or an emergency like this presents itself tomorrow, your plan can keep you from feeling entirely lost. You'll have the basis for sound decision-making, not actions based on an emotional response. So the last thing an owner wants is a fire sale of the business. And as mentioned before, transition planning can be complex. You need a team of professionals to guide you around the pitfalls and to help you get the results you want. And that certainly would include an attorney to get your corporate affairs in order, a CPA to handle tax matters and update your financial plan, and probably a business broker or at least a trusted appraiser to fairly evaluate your business and give you advice on how to increase its value to potential buyers. But the important thing here, George, is that it takes time. And remember those 10,000 retirements of baby boomers every day and 10 million businesses for sale. It's quite an incentive.
It is.
Let's look at perpetuation, and that's a word that's bandied about a lot by agency owners who see their direct line of family descendants as their perpetuation plan. In this particular presentation, I'm going to liken that to family propagation of the business. And a family-based perpetuation plan may not be as rock solid as you might think, and here's why. Offspring have minds of their own. Your children in the business may have good intentions. They may be great at production and client service and even management, but if their heart isn't in the business or they don't feel fulfilled, they may walk in someday and tell you, Mom, I want to join the Peace Corps, or Dad, I want to go into the advertising business. It happens. Then there's the unthinkable. Those chosen to perpetuate your business within your family may fall victim to a tragic accident, an illness, or even death. Failure to launch. This is when your children, who you really counted on to enter the business at some point, and whom you're likely to pass the baton to, fail to show any interest at all, and in fact, they hate the idea of being you. Now that's some pretty tough medicine. Not having a replacement process. This is important regardless of what kind of a perpetuation plan you think you have. When your children do not plan to follow in your footsteps and you know it, you need a good plan B. You have to develop a strong leadership replacement plan so that no void exists in the leadership experience or in the chain of command when you decide to step aside and retire. Without one, your agency value is in question and the salability of your business is likewise questionable. Let's get into the meat of leadership transformation and what it's all about, and the suggestion that you need to be very serious about planning. What's the first thing to do? Well, you need to pull yourself together. It's a difficult task to plan if you do it alone. It's a step-by-step process that can take literally years to implement. And step one is always identifying your self-interest. What is the result that you as the owner want for yourself or for your family when you leave? You know your business better than anybody. It's your baby. Overcoming the emotional struggle of selling your business is one of the toughest things you'll face in life. But there are individuals who have been there and done that, folks like George and others, who have successfully counseled many business owners through the maze of transition. So take the time to clear your head, identify people you know in your business who face the challenge of developing a succession plan. Work with them to define the outcome you want. That's the most important thing. The more clarity you can articulate about what you ultimately want to achieve in selling your business, the greater the chances are that you'll get there. And obviously, everything starts with the CEO or the owner. If the owner's not totally committed to creating a flexible, comprehensive succession plan, then it never happens. You have to have that commitment to create a plan. You must have clear focus on what you want the business to look like when you leave. So job one is to do what you already know how to do best, and that is make a decision. The decision to develop a clearly defined succession plan, specific objectives, and then you take the time to execute it. It's certainly not a one-and-done exercise. It took years for you to build your business and create the productive work culture that you have in your agency. It took a lot of time to develop and maintain the expertise that has served your agency clients so well for many years and grew your business value in the market. With all this at stake, why would a CEO or an agency owner not demonstrate the same conviction that was employed to build your business when you decided it's time to hand the reins over to a new leadership team? As you design this plan with the help of professionals and advisors, your income needs, your involvement expectations, investments, the legacy you want to leave behind, your personal values, all these things combine to create a set of personal goals for the owner. And of course, everyone else affected by the plan should also be considered by the owner. The involvement of the stakeholders and recognition of their needs should be addressed, including the needs of family members, your partners, managers, and employees, in order to limit the impact of any instability that might be caused by the changes. And here's a big one, management succession. When the business owner intends to keep the business independent, or closely held, or you have a continuing financial interest in the business, then you definitely want a management succession program. It's absolutely critical. This process determines who will do your job, the owner's job, when you're gone. Considerable thought should be given to the current and the future strategic areas that are critical to your agency's survival and continued growth. Creating and supporting some talent pools in each of these strategic areas is also important to future leaders to recruit from. And likewise, professional training resources need to be secured as part of the planning process to address any internal leadership development or other key competencies in the prospective leadership chain. These competencies, skills, and interests and the future plans for your high-performing managers at the agency really play a key role in the management succession process. So management succession and ownership succession planning go hand in hand. And I can tell you this can be a thorny and a complicated process, which usually requires the help of really serious HR professionals. So what else does it take? We got a couple of other key elements here. And speaking of the thorny process, in a recent Rough Notes article on the exit strategies, that article suggests that an agency owner might divide his employees up into 4 categories as part of a total business continuity process. Now, if you only have 3 or 4 employees, this tactic probably isn't too practical, but nonetheless, it's worthy of consideration, and it's certainly an exercise that's helpful for agencies that are larger with 10 or 15 or more employees. The agency owner would then categorize employees before an ownership transfer takes place because it's a sure bet that the new owner is going to do that. So leaving this task to the next guy or gal can promote instability in the agency, and that's not what you want as a seller. So here are the suggested categories that are recommended for categorizing your employees. First is key employees. Losing these people will have a serious financial impact. Next is the important employees. These are difficult to replace, and they make a difference in your business every day. The third category is valued employees. These are all the remaining productive staff. And the final category, these people are expendable, and they probably would be better off somewhere else. So I think we know what to do with that group. The next process is creating a best case scenario. You know, you wake up early in the morning after your first cup of coffee, or your mind's clear. What is the best possible thing that can happen? This is where you as an owner balance the needs and expectations of everybody that's involved, and you identify your highest priorities. Succession planning is much more than identifying your desired outcomes and the new leadership hierarchy. When you consider all of the diverse expectations that all the stakeholders have, at this stage of planning can be extremely difficult, as some of the others were. The goals in your best case should reflect what the business owner would like the business to actually look like after they leave. The best case scenario, and then the summaries of all your key participants' own goals, will be the starting point for finding the most appropriate technical solutions to issues and challenges that arise. The full range of legal and technical options should be explored with the owner's goals in mind before you actually sit down and design the plan. But here again, each option and its different tax implications should be explored and discussed with a professional advisor to ensure that the owner's plan objectives are achieved. Now, implementation, this final big step, this is where a lot of succession plans fail. Again, it goes without saying that you should consider securing industry-specific advisors who demonstrate experience and commitment to provide you with ongoing support and personal coaching to ensure that your plan gets legs. The first stage of implementation is drawing up all the legal and financial documents. Professional advisors who design the plan can help you devise an implementation process and a timeline for implementation that makes all your intentions clear and manages your expectations. The timeline should include specific goals or trigger events, if you will, for future leaders that will help them know when to take the next steps in the plan. An accountable leader should be committed to tracking the progress of a succession plan on a routine basis. This final step is different from all the previous stages of planning. The earlier stages helped business owners come up with plans that fit their needs, and each step had a clear objective, and it had an endpoint. This stage does not have a clear endpoint. Succession plans often need revision and modification. You've got tax law changes, you've got business conditions that change, personnel matters, those personnel conditions change. Your plan should be regularly revisited and possible adjustments of all sorts, particularly when significant events change the circumstances that surround your business, such as when your business financial condition changes substantially, or when key participants leave the company, or someone gets divorced or remarried that's a principal. Once the succession plan is in place, the owner can communicate that plan to all of the stakeholders. Transparent communication gives the key management leaders and family successors a clear understanding of the path to the future, as well as any role that they may have in that path. It also allows them to begin setting future goals and objectives for themselves. And finally, in implementing the plan, the owner must be ready to step aside and allow the successors to take over. The owner is then better prepared to take on new challenges in retirement, knowing that his or her financial future is secured. So don't delay this important part of being a leader. Start your succession plan today. Now, what we'll do real quick here, George, is we'll review for the audience quickly. We've covered a lot of ground in the time this morning. You learned the basics about what it takes to conduct a succession plan for your agency, and you recognize why it's important. So let's go step by step. First point, start by identifying your intended outcome. Next, ensure that the owner's commitment to the plan is solid. Without the CEO, succession plan is never going to happen. Identify future leadership team. You certainly want to groom and train all of your future leaders deep into the ranks. You want to have a deep bench for your agency. Balance all the stakeholders, partners, family, and vendors' expectations. This will be part of your best case scenario. And finally, implementation. This is where the organization of the plan really gets legs. You get your legal house in order. You get professional help from an appraiser. Establish a flexible timeline for your leadership transition. Be prepared to revise it and communicate it to the stakeholders. And remember, all along the way, if you don't know what to do, get some professional help. Most business owners only get to make the succession and retirement decisions once.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
That's it. That's beautiful. I wish you'd have been around when I was when I was in my business. I got a chance now to do it 2 or 3 times because I got new businesses. But that's another story. I didn't do it the first time. How am I going to do it this time? I'm going to follow your lead here. You can read here about Powerhouse Learning, a little bit about what they do there. You can contact Dennis here at the link and or Brandy, either one, and they'd be glad to give you more information. They're right on top of things, and they do some wonderful. They're going to do some great speaking all across the country this fall too. That you'll be hearing about them. So, Dennis, listen, I think I know you've done a wonderful job here outlining all this. I hope that we can get it in the hands of a lot of agency owners. I think it's vital. I really have a personal interest in this one as much as any. You have any last words to say before we head off into the sunlight?
Well, it's hard to follow up with what you've already said, George. But any of the business and agency owners that are really serious about developing a succession plan, if you don't know where to start, if you need professional help, we have people with a substantial insurance agency background and got lots of experience in agency ownership transfer. So you're certainly encouraged to contact Powerhouse Learning, contact Brandy, contact me. Go to the website. We're happy to help. Pick us up, pick up the phone, give us a call. We're not going to charge anything. We're happy to talk to you. Any help that we can provide, George, we are happy to do it. Well, you certainly are articulate, and you said it all. So I thank you, and to everybody else, don't forget to go back to your email. We're going to be adding new things to the email all the time. You know, you can bring this down to an iPod and listen to it in your car. There's all kinds of new ways, and we'll be talking about them later on. But in the meantime. Oh, and you can also go back and take the quiz flash. That's a lot of fun every week. Okay? So, but in the meantime, I'll see the rest of you next Monday morning.